Hey, everybody, welcome back. As always, Ever Gonzalez here, founder of Outlier HQ. I have my good friend Dave Keine, head of marketing at Podchaser with us. We're excited to talk about a few different things, but Dave, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
We're excited to have you. You guys have been great at a lot of different things in the podcasting scene. So to kind of paint the picture of what we're going to be talking about here, you guys set up a scholarship fund to help a lot of our attendees come out to some of the podcast festivals we've had throughout the U.S. in the last couple of years. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about why you decided to kind of help indie podcasters get to these type of festivals. But then I also want to talk about what you guys are doing at Podchaser. I mean, it's this database that continues to grow and in different cool ways that you guys are kind of helping the podcasting scene is pretty amazing. But before we do that, let's talk about you for a sec. Head of marketing at Podchaser. How long have you been there? What have you done in the past?
Yeah, so I started back in June, and then kind of took it as kind of a part-time thing for a little bit, and then back in November came on full-time as the head of marketing, and then actually in the last, I guess it's been a couple weeks, now transitioned to not only head of marketing but head of product and marketing, which means overseeing kind of the general direction of what we're doing with the website at large, and how we can roll out new features and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's been going great. I love it here. It's a fabulous team. It's really fun to be working on podcasting and kind of getting into all of the nitty gritty with all the different communities out there. But prior to this, I worked in an agency for a long time, kind of brought up their podcasting from a sales perspective and then got into production. And then from there, started my own production company that ran for about a year before jumping over to Podchaser. But we put out a handful of shows. And yeah, since then, it's kind of been all Podchaser all the time.
Yeah, and Podchaser, I mean, what attracted you to it? It's pretty straight up on paper anyway. It's a database for podcasters, podcasting. But in the beginning, what kind of drew you in?
Yeah, so I, like a lot of people, found out about Podchaser from Reddit back in the day. So they actually formed on Reddit. They made Bradley made a post that said, "Hey, something like this doesn't exist where you can go and rate and review individual episodes." That was the big concept that started it, and wanted to see if anybody wanted to make it with him. So that's how he found Ben, who's our CTO in Australia, and kind of helped put the team together. So I heard about them back then, kind of watched what they were doing. And initially they did set up as a way to just kind of upvote, downvote, kind of similar to a Reddit thread, individual episodes and podcasts. And at that time I was doing production at the agency I was at, and we had a couple shows out, and I saw a really great opportunity to kind of unhitch from the Apple ecosystem and kind of appeal to the other 70% of the market. So I was an early adopter of Podchaser. Talked to Cole early because, as a company itself, we kind of have that open ethos of we just want to talk to everybody, and we want to be transparent and take meetings and all of that stuff. So he did that with me back then, and we just kind of kept the conversation going until last year, where it just kind of made sense if I was looking to do something and they were looking for some help. So it kind of just naturally came about. And Podchaser's changed a ton since that first meeting. So it is a gigantic database now. We have 4.5 million creator or guest credits. So we track everybody who's a part of podcasting, and we have ratings and reviews for everything. We also have curated lists, and then a big thing that we released back in October that's kind of really elevated us to that next level is the Podchaser feed, which is where everything that you follow, whether it's other listeners or creators or podcasts, all of that shows up on your homepage in an activity feed and kind of lets you know what's happening around there. And it's a just terrific viral engine for discovering new podcasts and for knowing what your friends are listening to and all of that stuff. So that's kind of the roundabout way of saying I love it. I love Podchaser. I think it hits a really huge need in the market right now. and from both a user standpoint and from a podcaster standpoint, a way to connect with fans at kind of like the point of listening. So yeah, like it's great over here, and things are going really well. We announced our funding in late January, so we're going to be around a while, and we're going to be rolling out bigger and better features as we go.
You know, one of the unique things about you guys, whether it's good or bad, I don't know yet, right? But you guys have been making a lot of noise in the industry for a little while now because of what you're doing. I haven't found anybody that doesn't like what you guys are doing and how you're going about it. That's a lot of pressure, right? I mean, you guys have favorable reviews in the industry by top industry experts and just common users like the rest of us. That can be a scary position to be in as well, right? I mean, as of right now, everybody's on board, everybody likes it. What this is like right now, and then what the future is going to hold for you
Yeah.
guys as you continue to grow and innovate.
Absolutely. I hope you're right. I hope a lot of people like us. But we're also still got a lot of future ahead of us. So there's going to be a ton of new features that we're rolling out. But it is a lot of pressure, and I think what kind of goes hand in hand in that is that I mentioned that kind of transparent ethos that we have as a company. I think it's also important that as a company, we look at podcasting as a whole. So we're not looking at it as, only the procaster space. We are looking at the independent space and looking to kind of see what kind of platform we can create that builds the next wave of kind of podcast celebrities, right? Of somebody who's making a podcast in Seattle, Washington on their own. How do we elevate that person? How do we make sure that great content, no matter where it is, kind of elevates us? And so I think having that as our goal to just kind of make a really great platform, not only for listeners, but for creators and all kinds of creators, is kind of our North Star that just helps us to hopefully maintain that goodwill. We're just trying to play it kind of down the middle and not pick winners or losers, but just kind of provide a platform where everybody has a voice.
So important, right? And from the outside, again, I don't know how deep you want to get into this, but from the outside, it looks like you guys are making all the right moves, right? With the direction, with the platform, with the funding. Maybe what are some of the struggles that you guys have had as you continue down the road like this?
We are trying to kind of make that headway for sure. Like anything, it's a startup to where we do have struggles here and there. We just got our funding, but we are still a pretty small team. So we're rolling out new features and all of that stuff. Would we like to be rolling them out a lot faster? Of course we would. But we're also kind of taking the long road on this. We're able to stick around and kind of make those decisions on the fly versus, sometimes you get into the VC world with startups to where you're trying to just grow as fast as you can, as fast as possible, and you break a lot of stuff. So we're trying to kind of manage that growth cycle with, making the right strategic moves. And then a part of all of this is that kind of what we put out there with our funding announcement and kind of what Podchaser is looking to be is kind of that standard data set for the industry, so that we can be an agnostic platform that allows kind of every app that you choose to tap into our data, tap into our creator data, our reviews data, all of that stuff, all of our backend metadata, to kind of make podcasting as a whole a better place. We're not trying to replace your Pocket Cast or anything like that. We're trying to just kind of inform and help the rest of the community. So I think, that's something that is, I would say it's a challenge just because it's a big task, but we're kind of trying to eat the elephant one bite at a time, so to speak.
Sure. Well, you guys have a lot of work ahead of you, but again, you guys are it right, and we're excited about the progress that you've made, and
Thank you.
Podcasting industry in general, having this type of database and how easy it is to use and sign up, and all the different things that you can do on it, it has worked well. And so we're glad and we're happy that you guys are partners in this when it comes to the podcast festival.
Yeah, absolutely.
Podcast with a scholarship fund. Let's talk about that for a sec.
Mhm.
again, for those of you that don't know, we host 3 podcast festivals a year all over the US. Obviously, because of COVID-19, we've decided to make these last 2 this year virtual events. We had our in-person event in Salt Lake City, which was great. Columbus, Ohio, we're going to go virtual. The Northeast, we're going to go virtual in September. But that doesn't stop what we're doing with the content that we're putting out there with the speakers that we have. But Dave and the team there at Podchaser have, again, for the second year in a row, have decided to be a part of this. And they are offering a Podchaser Scholarship Fund to help those that, for whatever reason, especially nowadays, right, with this COVID-19, can't do the $49, $79, whatever it is that we're doing. And you guys have helped a lot of these podcasters, a lot of indie podcasters make it to our shows. Let's talk about why you decided to do that.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to what I was saying before of podcasting is a terrific medium in that anybody can do it. I can go out today, I can get on Anchor, I can get on any hosting platform, and I can record a podcast and have it out there, right? We believe in that. We believe in the democratization of the media and that anybody can do it. And part of that is making sure that anybody can do that no matter their economic situation or no matter the things going on in their life. So we just really strongly believe that everybody should have an opportunity to participate, to educate themselves, to get better, to network, all of that stuff. So I think it's really important that in a position that we are in, to help that happen. And what you guys are doing at Outlier is fabulous, especially with the indie community right now. I think we're at a great inflection point to where a lot of the kind of community is really coming together. They've been coming together in the past, of course, but the tools kind of up the ladder from, recording and from forums are starting to get there to where we can, you can be an indie podcast and build, a solid audience and also build a community of other podcasters around you where you can support each other. And really, I think from our point of view, we just want to make sure that the door is open for everybody.
And we have certainly taken advantage of that generosity and being able to kind of reach out to those that, again, normally wouldn't be able to come out. Last year, we did Austin, Texas. We did Denver, Colorado, and then we did LA. And the people that took advantage of your fund were able to come out and network. And a lot of the shows that they were thinking about starting or had already started have grown because of the things that they learned from our speakers on stage and all
That's
that
great
connection that they made. But again, it was possible because of the scholarship fund that you put together to help them get out there. And I agree, right? It's not we're not competing for downloads. We're not competing for audiences as podcasters. It feels like one big community, one big family where everybody's helping each other. And we had very seasoned entrepreneur or podcasters helping those that were just getting started at our events, and I know it happens to other events as well. But again, I think that it's things like these, events like these, with resources like yours to help them be able to kind of get either started or get them to that next level. So
absolutely,
me and from the podcast community, we want to thank you for making that possible.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I just love what you guys are doing. We love what you're doing. So we're just excited to be a part of it for sure.
Nice. And Dave, we're going to get you on our stage, whether it's 2021 or whatever, whenever we get back to this.
I'll wear my mask. It'll be all right.
We would love to have you be on stage with the knowledge that you have personally about the podcasting scene, and then with the things that you've done in the past. I think
I'd be happy to.
Yeah. Any party shots? Anything else that you want to talk about Podchaser that you guys are doing? Anything coming down the pipeline?
No, I think just if you got a podcast, definitely check out Podchaser. One of the big things that you can do with Podchaser is, we're a gigantic database. We've got great SEO. Ask for reviews on Podchaser. Most people don't have an iPhone. Most people aren't using Apple Podcasts. So leave a review on Podchaser, and those reviews work. So they actually cause your podcast to rise up our trending charts. Like I mentioned with the feed earlier, they get shown to other users. And then it's all SEO friendly. It's all stuff that's going to show up in Google. So make sure that you're doing that. And then on the other side of things, with the independent space right now, I think it's important that we all just realize, like, the golden years of podcasting are all ahead of us. We are at the most, if you want to define it just like purely as it, we're like what, 16 years into this podcasting thing, which is nothing. So things are going to get bigger, things are going to get better for everybody. And so all the connections that you're making now are going to pay dividends in the future. And, investing in things like the Outlier Festival and all of that are really going to help just kind of spring us into whatever the next phase of podcasting is, whatever that's going to be.
Yeah, we hear a lot of people, well, because we just had that announcement, 1 million podcasts, right? It's saturated. I don't know that I want to do it. Everybody and their mother literally is doing it now, but it's still baby.
How many blogs are there?
That's right.
Like there's a blog every, and at a certain point, we don't even call them blogs, right? They're just, websites. So I think we're going to kind of continue to explode. And there's what, 7.5 billion people on this planet. Podcastings are a great thing, but it's a drop in the bucket in terms of how many people are listening right now. There's so much just blue sky ahead of us for sure.
Yeah, they even if there were 1 million podcasts that are active and releasing an episode every single day, that's still baby. But even though that $1 million or that million mark, not all of them are active, right?
No,
it's like a third or something, or
I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, it is closer to maybe like 150,000 or something like that. So
maybe you take advantage and make,
and a lot of those go dormant every day. So you keep going at it, you keep putting out great content and connecting with your listeners and other podcasters, and it helps.
So for those of you that are listening to this and the replay, connect with Dave, connect with Podchaser. If your podcast isn't already up there, or if you haven't claimed it, because their podcast, right, if I remember correctly, can be up there without the podcaster claiming it yet.
Yeah, so we pull it in from publicly available RSS feeds. So we're a public database, so anybody can go onto Podchaser and browse it, all of that stuff. If you have a podcast, you can go on there. We have a little claim button, and what that does is you'll get a green check mark, so everybody knows that you're important. And you can go on and you can add categories that don't exist anywhere else. You can claim a custom URL, so you can just have podchaser.com / the name of your show, and you can also grab a badge you can put on your website. You can add links to your podcast page. So if you want to add your social links or anything like that, add a merch section. We're partnered with TeePublic on that, so you can make a little money off of it. There's a bunch you can do. And on top of that, you'll get notifications when people leave reviews, and you'll actually be able to reply to those reviews, which no other platform allows you to reply to reviews. So it's a great way to say thanks, answer questions, and provide more information and more of that touch with your audience for sure.
I love it. Guys, if you're listening, take advantage of it. We're going to have a link to Podchaser here in the comment section here in just a bit. But Dave, we appreciate you being on, talking about Podchaser. We really thank you for the scholarship fund. It's going to make I believe it's going to make a difference, and it has made a difference in a lot of these podcasters' lives, those that get to attend. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me, and best of luck to everybody out there.
Love it. Outliers, we'll talk to you tomorrow.